Today, I am here to represent one of my favorite game developers and overall dudes of the industry. Today, I'm talking about Goichi Suda, aka Suda51, a game developer I've been following for a long time, and like I said, he is my favorite. Um, Goichi Suda, aka Suda51, is a game developer who makes some very creative and different games in the industry. The 51 in Suda 51, by the way, comes from the fact that in Japanese, I think it's Go translates to 5, and then Ichi's 51, so it's Suda 51. You learned something today.
No, 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 no,
Um,
no, 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 no.
I already knew that.
Go, Suda, go means 5 and Ichi means 1.
I just said that.
Oh, I thought you said Ichi means 51.
No, I said 1, and that makes 51.
Oh,
5
okay.
and 1.
Continue.
Spencer's taking over my segment. Go
Yeah,
on,
I want to talk about Suda right now, so I'd like to. Do it.
Continue, Spencer. Suda51 is a Japanese game developer born in 1968. He is currently 55. That's cool. And he started out his early adult life, didn't really get along with his parents. He was actually a funeral director, which is a weird place for a game developer to start. He shortly after got a job at Human Entertainment, who I guess they're most widely known for the Fire Pro Wrestling series. And shortly after getting on with Human Entertainment, he would work on the Fire Pro Wrestling games and actually worked on two of the games, one of which he was a scenario writer, which was Fire Pro Wrestling Special. Super Fire Pro Wrestling Special. He was a scenario writer. In this game, he actually wrote the storyline of the campaign. I haven't played this before, but I know that it was a pretty controversial story that he wrote for the game because it's about like a wrestler who gives up everything to like win this championship and then realizes that he's unhappy and like kills himself. And apparently it was so controversial in Japan that Human Entertainment got death threats for letting Suda write this ending for this wrestler. But ultimately it got eyes on the series, so they were not upset with Suda at all. I mean, any publicity is good publicity, right? Shortly after that, he worked on some other titles for Human Entertainment. He worked on Twilight Syndrome and Moonlight Syndrome. And then he would leave to form his own studio, and what we widely know him for today is Grasshopper Manufacturers. Grasshopper's been around for quite a while now. Like I said, I think it was... let me look here and take the exact date their first game came out. The first game came out... Why is it only showing me the fucking remaster? Stupid. Anyway, it's like 96 or something like that. And it was The Silver Case, which was a visual novel about cops and a serial killer. It's a very deep and profound game, and is the first game in Suda's lineup of games to use a common thread that he carries throughout most of his games, not all of them, but most of them. He has a theme that he uses that he calls "Kill the Past," which is just the idea that you can't move forward with your future unless you confront the things of your past. That's the common thread for a lot of his titles. Going from Silver Case, they did Flower, Sun, and Rain, which was Japan only for a while on PS2, but did get a version on DS here. He also did Michigan Report from Hell, which was also Japan only. And then he finally made his big break over here with the GameCube title Killer 7, which was part of the Capcom 5 on the GameCube, which also had like Beautiful Joe, Resident Evil 4, PN03, and a canceled game called Dead Phoenix. That's really where he got his foothold here in the West, was with Killer 7, and it kind of showed the world his surreal, creative, violent way of telling stories. He worked on a few games after that. A follow-up to the Silver Case called The 25th Ward. Some like anime games. One for Samurai Champloo, one for Blood Plus. And he also made the game Contact. But it wouldn't be until 2007 that he really took off in the industry with the release of No More Heroes. That's how I know him. That's how I first found him. And a lot of people are the same way. No More Heroes came out. It was a big deal on the Wii at the time, and it really got his name out there. From here, the history with Grasshopper Manufacturers is kind of strange because No More Heroes was a turning point for the company. It was their most profitable game at the time, but it also kind of set this standard. Games before No More Heroes weren't as crazy and out there. They were definitely out there. They had violent themes, but they weren't like wacky. They weren't like sexualized. They were just kind of violent and avant-garde. No More Heroes kind of combined the two to make this wacky game that's also got like themes to it. And from there, a lot of game developers that wanted to work with Suda and Grasshopper Manufacturers, they didn't see the side of the his earlier work. They saw No More Heroes and how crazy and kooky it was, and they wanted more of that. So for a while, Grasshopper Manufacturers kind of fought this battle with game publishers who just saw them as the kooky company. Of course, they did a sequel to No More Heroes called No More Heroes 2, which definitely leaned into that kookier nature, but Suda was just kind of he was an executive director on that game. He didn't like fully work on that title, and he directed a lot of games at this time. The big follow-up that really exemplifies this is Shadows of the Damned. This was his big project after No More Heroes. He worked with Shinji Mikami of Resident Evil 4 fame to make this title, and originally he wanted just a straight up horror game. You didn't use guns, you had like a torch, and it was going to be completely dark, and that's it. There's a whole backstory to like what he wanted for this title. But EA, their publisher, didn't want that. They wanted Suda for the craziness, for the wackiness, so they made him change his game. And Shadows of the Damned turned out to be a action shooter game with dick jokes and strippers and all this stuff that Suda did not want. That really left a sour taste in his mouth when it came to working with big publishers. And he still laments that game. He's not happy with the way that game turned out. It is a fine game overall, but knowing that it is not what he wanted from his vision, that is sad. He also worked on a couple more games after this. Lollipop Chainsaw, that he worked on with James Gunn, who's a pretty big, Hollywood guy. And that one was also very successful, but also leaned into the kookiness. He also did Killer is Dead, which is less kooky, but again, the whole publisher thing kind of rears its ugly head here. With Killer is Dead, he didn't have any sexual overtones in this title until I think it's Katakawa. They did the publishing for this one, forced him into including these sexualized moments where you would like hit on girls and like pick them up at a bar. There was a lot of weird stuff going on with the company at this time.
Wait. Hold on.
What?
There were no sexualized moments before this?
No, he didn't want the
in this game specifically. In this game specifically.
Yeah,
okay.
in Killer is Dead,
Okay.
you're supposed to play it as like a Bond type agent. And he didn't want anything like any sexualized moments in the game.
Gotcha.
But Katakawa told him that he needed to include this stuff. So he ended up including like they're called juggalo missions where you like hit on girls at a bar. Yeah. Kind of distasteful. After this, he did a game called Let It Die, like a free-to-play game, but he kind of stepped away from working on bigger titles for a while, kind of just writing and, for like games like Liberation Maiden, which I talked about before on 3DS. He just kind of stepped away from it because he just had this bad taste in his mouth. It wasn't until the Switch got announced that Suda came back in a different way. Suda's back to making games full time now. He's actually full hands on with his titles, and Grasshopper is working as an independent company now, which means Suda gets to make his games the way he wants to make his games. They're not working with big publishers. They get help from like Nintendo and stuff every once in a while, but that's more just funding. They're not actually working with big publishers to publish games. So after their return, the only games he's worked on has been Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, and No More Heroes 3 as his games. He also worked on Fire Pro Wrestling World, but just as a scenario writer. And currently, they're working on a game called Hotel Barcelona, which is an original idea from Suda that we have no clue what it's going to be about yet. But even with the two returning No More Heroes games, you can really tell there's no sexualized tones because he was really worried there for a while that people would just see him and Grasshopper as a studio that pumps out just like sexualized content, and he didn't want that. Um, so No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again was a really um, it was a really divisive game amongst fans because a lot of them wanted the kookier stuff and the sexy stuff. But it's a game that is actually pretty and like pretty meaningful. It is like that game is his take on his career. Basically, you play through like Travis goes through like different video game worlds, and each one represents a part of his career. One of which he actually, because he owns the rights, he actually put Shadows of the Damned in this game and had Travis go through the world of Shadows of the Damned, the game, and kind of like had this meta narrative about how that game didn't turn out the way he wanted it to turn out. No More Heroes 3 also came out, and that game's also really good. But it's interesting to see him kind of come back in this way and become more of an indie dev now. When before he was trying to strive for like bigger productions and stuff, and that kind of bit him in the ass. I love him. I think he makes some really interesting stuff, really out there ideas, and I can see what the hell Hotel Barcelona is.
You mentioned Contact. That was more just Grasshopper Studios, right?
Yeah, he was a producer on Contact.
It's not listed here, but maybe a deeper producer.
Under his name, it is for Goichi Suda.
Okay, on
If
the
you go
actual,
to the actual, if you're just looking on Wikipedia, it's not on there. If you go to the actual like wiki fandom, it shows more of like the stuff that he maybe didn't, fully create but worked on.
Okay.
And also his personal wiki page, not the fandom, has him listed as producer.
Okay,
Cool. Then I guess that's my first Suda game.
what's this kid's Contact? Oh, you played that one?
Yeah.
Mine
I
was
haven't.
Liberation Maiden. I had played that before Alex had brought it up because I was big in the 3DS downloads. I still have not found like the Suda game that like I think represents his legacy. You know, as like that, because it says here on his page, he's like compared to Quentin Tarantino. I mean, like I see it, I guess, with like when we played No More Heroes, but I just haven't had that one game that like I don't know solidifies it for me, if that makes sense.
I would say it's probably No More Heroes. Not that it's
Yeah,
Even
my.
though I think
not-
what Alex was describing was like Killer 7, and others were like the more violent, heavy. You know, maybe maybe that would be worth trying.
I
don't
think
know how
Killer
I play
Seven
that.
might be a lot more Tarantino. It is very out there with some of his ideas, but I think the storytelling overall could be pretty Tarantino. Honestly, kind of reminds me of like a fucked up Reservoir Dogs.
He did a Fatal Frame
Um,
game. That's cool.
Yeah, he worked on a Fatal Frame game. Like I said, he's taken on some other projects, but I mainly highlighted ones that he was like directly involved with. Like he even did a Connect game called Diabolical Pitch, which was like a baseball themed Connect game because it's Suda. Suda likes to put things that he likes in the work, so there you'll see a lot of wrestling, you see a lot of baseball, a lot of punk rock, a lot of Miike. He loves Miike films. So there's a lot of those types of themes in his games too. Where
What's
he just likes to
Miike?
include. He's a director.
What's Mihike?
Mihike.
What's whatever that is.
He's a director.
No, what is it though? I don't know what that is. You said he likes Mihike.
You don't know any of his movies?
Mihike. Yeah, I don't know what Mihike is.
He's the name of a director, but I don't think he knows his movies, Alex. I don't either.
What movie
Oh.
is that? What movies does he do?
Shit, I've seen a few of them. They're very that's where
I like
Is
that.
it-
I
is
say
it
I don't know.
Kakashi?
I don't know what that is, and then he's surprised that I don't know what that is. And I ask him to name one movie.
Well,
and he
I mean,
can't
he's
name
just-
a movie.
I can't think of any off the top of my head because I don't really follow the guy's career either.
How would
he's
I know?
Let's see.
I'd say
Ichi the
it's
Killer, that's a big
Kafka-esque,
one.
name a comic book.
Yeah. Ichi the Killer, 13 Assassins. That's a. Miike just does a lot of like violent indie Japanese film that have
Okay.
gotten a lot of praise over the years.
Okay.
And that's where the idea for No More Heroes actually came from, was Miike.
What's it? Me
Yes.
Miike.
Miike. Yeah, Miike. That's his last name. Takashi Miike.
Miike. Okay. Trying
Like
to.
Mike.
So I can go on the forums and speak to this later.
What form?
It's very me-esque.
Yeah, very Miike-esque. Yes. Mm.
Nintendo Mii.
Yeah, my Miike. Miike-esque.
Oh, cool. I hope that Hotel Barcelona lets him, achieve his artistic vision.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of this side of the industry of game developers making it big and being dissatisfied with the process. I feel like a lot of them are maybe, at least in the Japanese side, are I don't know, too afraid to speak out. But Suda is very different from a lot of Japanese devs. And
I think his best work was Samurai Champloo.
that was part of that game. Blood Plus and the first Number of Heroes is a trilogy of games that he calls the Sword Action Trilogy. So you could thank that game for No More Heroes because it kind of set the groundwork.
I do every day. I thank it. Thank you.
So thank you, Samurai Champloo.
Did you play the Silver Case on stream at some point?
Yeah, I was
Okay,
streaming it. Yeah,
I remember that. Okay, cool. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah. I also want to just before I move on, I want to say that he actually got a credit for. I probably told this story before, but he got a credit for Smash Bros. Brawl because he moved the release date from Heroes in order for Smash Bros. Brawl to not clash together, which wouldn't have mattered in Japan because Number Heroes did shit in Japan, but it maybe would have mattered here for a little bit because the game did pretty well here. Not overdone Smash, no, but just I don't know. But
Tripping out.
and then ever since he kept trying to get Sakurai to include Travis in Smash, and it's never happened. And then with this last one, like that last DLC character was being announced, and my heart was dashed the moment they were like, before we show the character, let's show some Mii costumes. And they were like, they made a Travis Mii costume, and I was like, you fuckers no. And then Sora was announced, and I was like, God damn it. And then but it's okay because this is again Suda doing whatever he wants now. And No More Heroes 3, the last fight is a Smash Bros fight. You fight the guy on a Smash Bros stage in a Smash Bros style, and you even knock him off, and it explodes. And he goes, "Game!" And I'm like, that fucker, he's genius. He's like, you won't put me in Smash, I'll put Smash in my game.
Yeah, he put Smash in himself.
He did it.
Nice.
He is Russia.
To be fair, though, Travis would be like the 800th person that fights with a sword.
He does different stuff enough, though, right?
The art style would be different, which would be nice.
Yeah. He's like kookier. I think he could have like random. And the second game, like one of the, you know how you get like in the first game you kill somebody and you get like the slot machine.
Yeah.
And the second game, one of the slot machine things that happens is that you become a tiger for like a few minutes, and then you just maul people. So,
that's pretty wild.
Here's an idea right there.
Okay, thank you for the 51 segment.
51 facts about Suda 51 you didn't know.
You should do that. You should do that video.
I could probably.
Hey, it's Sorta Suda. We're gonna do a Sorta Suda segment. Do 51 facts about Mr. 51 himself. Make sure to subscribe. I want 51 likes on this video.
And I'll do 51 more facts.
Number 1, Spencer, you're up.
Hey y'all, don't forget to subscribe to them button mappers.